Tim Ellison is my guest, one of my favorite guests. He is a chef and sommelier who knows how to cook, he knows how to plate, entertain, wash dishes, and pick wine. 35 plus years in the hospitality business helps you do all of that expertly. Tim and I are taking a journey to Italy in May. For more information, you can go to the Educating Girls in Rural China website. But in the meantime, we have you here because we were selling that trip last night. Journeys with Heart.
Yeah.
Where are you
Wonderful.
taking us?
We are going on the most amazing trip to Northern Italy. I'm so excited. First of all, I think that Journeys with Heart is a really great thing. Love to travel, but love to do good as well. And if I can do both at the same time, I mean, why not?
Yes, and John Bishop took one to India. Vicky Gabbro and Christopher Gaze from Bard and the Beach went to England.
Yeah.
And part of the trip money goes to the charity.
Yeah,
How
which is
fabulous.
great. Yeah.
And our charity is EGRC,
That's
Educating
right.
Girls of Rural China, in the poorest province.
Exactly.
Where girls would never get a chance to go to university or get educated. It's a small charity, but well worth it.
Yeah,
educated
super.
Women have educated children.
That's right, super powerful. And I think that, you know, educating women has a profound effect on any community. So it's a good thing. But our trip, oh my goodness.
Okay, back to that.
Flying into Milan. So, I mean, how can you go wrong? Fashion center of the universe. And then traveling up to Piedmont into Lamora, the famous area of Barolo and Barbaresco. Storied, probably the finest wines in all of Italy. My apologies to the Tuscans, but I think that these are tremendous wines. We'll spend some time in there. We're doing wine tasting, slow food, cooking classes, down to Cinque Terre's in Liguria, that beautiful coastal collection of seaside villages, a boat cruise, wine tastings, dinner there. Franchiacorta in Lombardy, the premier sparkling wine destination in all of Italy, then traveling through Veneto, the Po River Valley, Bordolino, Lake Garda, Soave, ending in Venice. I mean, it'll be absolutely fantastic.
I'll have to buy some sensible shoes.
Well, we'll be doing a lot of sitting and sipping and swirling, hopefully not too much walking.
I'm thinking, do you have a favorite region in Italy?
Oh, I would have to say that for me, food and wine in Italy would be Piemonte. I mean, you know, Barolo Barbaresco, the Nebbiolo grapes, Alba truffles. I was just at Pino's place 2 weeks ago. We had
Pino Pastorero.
Yeah, Chiapino's in Yaletown. Yeah, so had a Magnum of Contesia 98 Barbaresco, and Pino had.
And I was having a beer on the porch.
And a hamburger. And Pino had a big honkin' white Alba truffle. I think he paid the better part of $3,000 a kilo for it. And I ordered a mushroom ravioli with my Barbaresco. Comes out, shaves the truffle on top. You know, I mean, that's like half a year's wages gone right there.
No kidding.
But it was the most incredible, ethereal, delicate and powerful and grounded culinary experience I've had in a little while.
How interesting. And Roberto Luongo, when he could afford to eat at a fancy restaurant, used to get the lobster ravioli or something like that at Pino's restaurant in Yaletown. Now this truffle thing, a black truffle, a white truffle, what is a truffle?
A truffle, it's like a little fungus. They typically grow at the bottom of oak trees, and they're hunted out by pigs or dogs. They like to use dogs because pigs tend to eat them, and it's like a little compacted mushroom. Looks like a little node, and it has a very perfumed, light aroma, but the flavors are rich and it tastes of earth and they're just like mushroomy. They're the most incredible thing.
I know. I've had the privilege, and they're very pricey. And there's truffle season. I think it's happening right now because I got a little note from Mangia Bevi in West Vancouver, and they were having truffle week.
That's right. So, and when you can have fresh truffles, certainly take advantage of them because they're absolutely fantastic. A real treat.
Now back to Italy and olive oil. Well, of all the olive oils, you know, Greece makes olive oil, Sicily makes olive oil. Spain makes olive oil. Do you have a preference?
I like Greek.
You like Greek, but we're going to Italy.
I know. Italian olive oil is very good, and I mean the extra virgin. They've made a whole industry about that. But you know, if I was thinking oil and vinegar, that type of thing, and I always kind of lump them together, the balsamico from Modena is probably the Italians' claim to fame. The olive oils that they get are very excellent and like great for cooking everything. But I find that the Greek olive oils are just a touch fruitier and a little bit lower in acidity, which makes them bright. But I just want to say this while we're talking about olive oil. People are constantly going out and spending big dough on extra virgin olive oil and that kind of thing. If you're dipping bread or drizzling on a salad or just finishing a pasta plate with something like that, go to town and use the best olive oil that you can afford. But if you're sauteing onions and stuff like that, you don't need to use $30 a liter olive oil for that. I mean, you certainly don't want to use like pomace oil or anything, but the extra virgin and stuff like that. You're really not doing the product a service.
Exactly. And when olive oil goes off,
oh yeah,
you can tell, right?
Oh yeah, oil goes rancid.
Has that smell. It's like when wine is corked.
So you can't buy a bottle of olive oil and keep it forever. And the one thing is I do see people transfer olive oil from the opaque containers into glass jars that are very pretty with spouts on them, and then put them on the windowsill above the sink in full sun. That's going to make your olive oil go rancid in a hurry. Don't do it. Keep it in the cool, dark place away from light. Find something else to show off.
Okay, when a chef de cuisine, a sommelier like yourself, has a dinner party, what do? Cook.
Yeah, and the dishes. I try to find very simple foods that I can have done ahead. One of my favorite things to do is to make a big cheese plate, because that gives me opportunity to have some time to clean up in the kitchen as people transition from the entree to dinner. So the appetizer is something that it's either in a pot on the stove or it's a cold preparation. I have it done ahead. The entree, I like to get everything done in, mise en place, what we call preparation in cooking, is like 90% of the battle. So if your veg is all trimmed and blanched and everything's par-cooked and the meat is seasoned and marinated or cooking in the oven, everything like that, braised dishes, low heat, things that you don't have to pay attention to, they're perfect. Pull them out of the oven, flash the veg on the plate, and then, like I said, just having a little cheese plate or something like that. Make sure your cheese is warm, a nice selection, and put some breads and some olive oil and balsamico on the table and a little wine, and away you go.
And if heaven forbid you were in a sad circumstance and had to have a last supper, what would it be?
For me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I don't think they're going to put you in jail anytime soon.
I'm too slippery for that. I have to say that just with my recent memory of, I could see like osso buco, so veal shank cooked in tomato with ravioli and endless bottle of red wine. Either something from honestly a Barolo, aged Barolo from maybe 82 or earlier.
All right. And if somebody wants a list of good wines, can they go to does the Pacific Institute do anything like that?
No. People have been agitating for me to make a top 10 list, because we taste hundreds of wines every week in my trade, and so the Facebooking and the Twittering thing, I've resisted up till now because I've been a bit old school on that, but there's been a strong desire for me to post that kind of thing, because people are calling me, asking me for recommendations for dinner wine. So I think that I'll do that in the near future. So you can check our website for something like that.
And in Gastown, say you're going down to Gastown, the Wildebeest is a new one.
Wildebeest,
have you been?
James Iranizad and Josh Pape's new place, 100 block West Hastings. They got David, the ex-chef from West, and actually a guy who's sous chefing there, Josh Blumenthal, is an ex-student of mine, staged Michelin-starred restaurants in London for a couple of years. He's back. The restaurant's hopping. They've got the old Pantages lights. It's quite elegant. It's that typical Yale Towny, Gass Towny, raw brick, big beams kind of thing. But one thing that's kind of a hidden gem at Wildebeest, the restaurant's slamming, the bar is, it's okay. But downstairs, they have a little wine bar, and they've got the Enoteca machines that dispense the fine wines, and they replace the oxygen in the bottle, so the wines are always fresh. You can buy an expensive, rare glass of wine and know it's going to be in perfect condition. And there's, the staff working down there really great. I was served by a woman named Layla when I was there last. She was beautiful, very knowledgeable, and it just had a kind of hipster East Coast groove to it. Yeah, it was really cool.
Okay, East Coast, West Coast. I know you spend time in Toronto. I have, and there's always a competition, and there's people rating. Oh,
yeah.
Maclean's Mag just came out with theirs. It's always controversial. What do you think about stars, Michelin stars, and things like that?
Yeah, Michelin stars, wine ratings, and the like. I think that they're a good kind of broad rating for things like that. But the fact of the matter is that if for instance, Alexander Gale or any of the fine food critics, if you have tastes similar to theirs, then their ratings make a lot of sense. But if you like things different from what they prefer, when they pan things, you might really like them. So I think that reading ratings gives you a good idea and articles about what's on offer and what's the potentials are, but really you need to go and experience them yourself. That's where the proof is in the pudding.
Absolutely. Yale Town, and I hope I say it right because I'm going to Italy. La Curcia boys have gone to the Opus Hotel.
Yes,
I hear tell.
Adam Pegg and Lucas Syme. They're quite busy. They've got their little Quercia. They just opened a little place around the corner called Officino, but they've taken over the dining room of the Opus. It was Cinque Notte, 100 nights, and now they're making it more of a steady kind of scene. They're doing a wonderful job. It's that room. I never could understand the dining room of the Opus when they first made it. They're trying to go for this French provincial thing. It looked like a pantry restaurant, and it just never gripped.
It wasn't your thing.
Oh man, and the lounge, very hip, and you could tell it was hip because there wasn't a comfortable chair in the place, and it drove me crazy. And now I think that they're kind of returning to doing a better job and just focusing on cuisine and doing a good job and not trying to be artsy, but trying to provide great quality cuisine. And those guys are smoking hot.
I hear tell. Now, when you tip somebody in a restaurant, you tip for service, obviously, but how much? Lunch different than dinner?
Absolutely, yeah.
What at lunch, percentage-wise?
Lunch, dinner, formal, informal. For me, what I always do is a formal, you're going to give slightly more. Informal, you're going to give slightly less. At lunch, it's around 15%. At dinner, it's around 20%. What I can say is tip on the total, not the tax. With HST, it adds 12% on. So take the HST out, tip on that, and be real. So if you're out and you're having dinner and it's $1,000, and people do spend that kind of cake on dinner, are you gonna tip 20%, $200? Well, you might. I mean, if you got a G note for dinner, you might have a couple $100 for a tip. However, any waiter in the world is going to be thrilled to get $100 off that. So, as the bills start to become more astronomical, you can ease off on the tip. If it's a large party, however, that usually requires a team of people to produce that meal and service you. So I usually stick with the 15% for groups of 10 or more.
And those machines are driving us all crazy.
The little remote control handheld with the chip. The thing that breaks my heart about those is, first of all, technology for a lot of people is a little bit elusive, and the machines are not all the same, and the waiter will stand there because we don't want people switching out our pin pads trying to capture information. So we stand there and we watch you enter in your gratuity, and it's super awkward for us.
And it's awkward for me, the eater, because the waiter stands over your shoulder and watches you and has to stay at the table while you're thinking. And sometimes we talk with a friend and say, what do you think? How much are you leaving? And you can't, with the waiter stand, well, you can, but it's rude and all of that. And you're not rude, and we're going to raise money for educating girls of rural China mid-May. May 16th, we'll be on the plane.
Yes, May 16th, and we come back on the 25th. It's going to be the most amazing trip. Luxury coaches, food, wine, cooking classes, dinners, wine tastings, meeting the
and small.
winemakers.
There's only 20 people allowed. I don't know how many are left, but let's hope some.
Okay, Fanny.
I thank you.
Great, good to be here.
How's your Italian?
Bueno.
Bene.
I speak Italian with the Burnaby accent.
Okay, this is excellent. Tim Ellison, chef de cuisine, top sommelier. And remember, you can catch our conversations on YouTube or join me on Twitter at Fanny Kiefer. There will be many more tasty and talented guests to come. Thanks for watching Shaw TV and being with me today.